Frank Ranks, week 7. Yes, we're in our 7th week. We only have independents to talk about. There's no Marvel, no DC in this week. It was a slow week for me. But let's see which one of these books is going to end up at number 1. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zanca, award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, let's talk about these 7 books. And if you're not collecting anything independent, you might want to look into some of these. So let's start out with number 7. And some of these I read digitally because I really only had 2 books ordered this week, so most of these things are all digital. And that is Exquisite Corpses. So this is following the head, not the presidents, but the leaders, I guess, of crime, of the 13 original colonies, which of course turned into states. And every year, they have this killer game or whatever, where they send in an assassin with a specific weapon, and I got to bring that up in a second, with a specific weapon, and they just send them into like a residential town. So all of the innocent people are also kind of thrown into this game whether they like it or not. So then, if a lot of the poor innocent people are getting killed off at the same time. But here we also have a MT or MP or whatever, EMT. Yeah, EMT, that's as opposed to a BMT. An EMT that's kind of taking control here. She has a weapon and all that stuff. And she's starting to give the killers a few problems. And then we have the bunny that comes back from the dead. So they also did not say that the killer could not win, or the assassin, or whatever you want to call it, if they didn't have their original weapon. That never came up before. And I think the thing's like on 9 or 10 right now. I forgot what number we're talking about. But now they changed the rules. Because the guy who I thought was the original guy is now dead already. Because, they made a big deal of him in the first issue. We didn't see him for like 6, 7, 8 issues. And then the last issue, he died. And they took his weapon because the other weapon broke. Which means now the person, even if the killer wins, the person with the weapon is the one that gets the accolades? It's really confusing. The funny part is that this got picked up as a movie. So that's what I was saying. If you might as well keep track of what's going on in the independent comic world, because some of this stuff is getting picked up for films. And this is one of them. So, yeah, it's Hunger Games meets whatever. Meets the assassin game or whatever. Anyway, I'm not really a fan of this. I keep reading it because I think it's going to end soon. Eventually you run out of guys, but now we have people just like coming up out of popping up out of nowhere, so it's like, oh, you thought he was dead, but he's not. So it's down to like four people or whatever else, and it's the sister of one of the people. I don't know, that's weird too. Oh, I sent my sister to die. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, that's number 7. Number 6 is Escape. Again, I read this digitally. It is a World War II story, but the writer felt that to use humans in it wouldn't get as much empathy as if he made it animals. I don't agree with that at all. I prefer reading stories about people rather than cartoonish animals. And they don't look cartoonish. Of course, the artwork makes them look semi-real. But to me, it's a cartoon because I have talking animals. So it takes away from the seriousness of the story, as far as I'm concerned. So I thought that was a really bad idea. So now it was kind of a lead up. So supposedly it's about his grandfather. This was his grandfather's story, but this last issue he is heavily embellishing, heavily embellishing. I don't think any of this stuff happened. So he's caught on enemy lines and he's trying to destroy, I guess, this gun or weapon or whatever else he's trying to destroy. And last issue he was like hiding, but now he's like purposely getting captured and running trucks or cars into the front door, through the gates that explode. And and then he's like, I meant to get caught. Bullshit. He has like a thing in his mouth where he can now drop it and undo his cuffs. James Bond shit. There's no way that really happened. No way. And I wrote a World War II biography. So I'm very familiar with the time and what was real and what's not. And that's heavy embellishment. So it's the book lost me from the beginning. Now the story lost me. Because again, I'm calling bullshit. All right, jumping into number 5, and this is actually I got a bunch of books from Kickstarter in, and normally the books I get in from Kickstarter are really bad. But in this week they were either decent or actually good. Who would have thunk it? So I think the quality is getting better on the Kickstarter world. So for number 5, this is by Mark Millar, or Miller, however you say it, because it's an AR, but I think he says it Miller. And he's done, obviously, a pile of stuff. He's a very, very well-known comic writer. Is he the one that did... I think he's the one that did Invincible. So there's that. But anyway, so this is like a 50-page book. And it is, what if this fantasy world was at war with another world, and they needed soldiers. So they sent over people like scouts, which in this case is one of the royals. Not sure how that would work. But he sent over scouts and to basically figure out all of the intricacies of our world and how to take us down very, very quickly. So they sent over dragons, they sent over giants, they sent over everything through a portal after they figured out all the weak spots. And took over the United States in like a day. So, they're rounding up the women and anybody who, can be a soldier, and they're bringing them all back over to the other world so that they can fight this other enemy that's apparently a lot harder to beat than the United States. The artwork is decent on it, but I just don't like it. It takes way too many liberties. That they would send over a prince to be a scout, and then the girl he's with that plays D&D, he ends up, you're gonna be my wife, and she's like, fuck no, man. And everybody else they're recruiting, missiles aren't good enough against dragons, nukes. I don't understand how the United States would lose a battle against guys with swords. I don't get it. So, I'm not liking this. It takes too many liberties. I appreciate him thinking out the box, but there had to be more. This battle would not be over in a day. I'll tell you that. No matter how many dragons you got. So... Anyway, going on to number 4, another Kickstarter book by Zenescope. And Zenescope is known for just like the scantily clad women thing. But this is Van Helsing. So she looks almost like steampunkish. But this is about Dracula. So I have never collected a Van Helsing book from Zenescope before. So the writer on this, Pratt or whatever the guy's name was, Stand, and he actually is very wordy. All of his panels have a lot of like internal thinking from her, but I guess she had killed Dracula at one time, and now he's back, but he is being held captive by another group because they need his blood to raise up a big demon. And of course, he doesn't want that to happen. So the blood of the demon that he made a deal with was in his ring, and they got the ring to raise him, and of course she had to save him to stop that. And I thought they did a good job. I mean, I actually really enjoyed this book, as shocking that is. So I'll look for other issues like this. But I thought the art was decent. The art's better than it is on the cover. It's just that the other covers that were better were more expensive, and I'll just get the main cover. All right, and that's why I don't charge any extra for any of my. Although for the nude covers I charge more, but otherwise I don't, unless the artist charges me more. Then like I might do a cosplay cover for a thing, but she's going to charge me like $800 for that cover, so I'm going to have to charge more for that cosplay cover. But anyway, before we continue, remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. If you can, subscribe, please do. Ring that bell, ding, ding. Share this video out there. Also, remember, too, that I'm a writer myself, so check out my stuff on Amazon. You just type my name into Amazon, Frank Zanca, it'll pop up. You'll see my 4-novel sci-fi space adventure quadrilogy called Destiny Aurora. It was made into a board game, an RPG, a graphic novel. It's also on Audible with multiple voices. I think it turned out pretty well. And so definitely check that out if you like old Star Trek, because I got all the new Trek and all the new Star Wars sucks. Or Guardians of the Galaxy. It's got some of the sense of humor from Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that as well. All right, and then my new Sherlock Holmes short story is also on Amazon as well, called Sherlock Holmes and the Christmas Krampus. My agent wants me to write another one, so I'm working on another one right now. So it's going to be like a whole bunch of little short stories, which I'm probably going to put into an anthology. But it's cheap. It's like $2.99, so you can get it pretty quickly and easily read it in a day. And then my new audio book for my fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor the Iron Witch. We did pass 100 people. I am going to launch that. It's just that I'm working on I'm working on 2 different films right now in pre-production, and I'm afraid that if I start it right now, that I'm not going to have time to market it. But I may do it anyway, so I got some new artwork in for the characters and stuff like that as well. But anyway, if you like Lord of the Rings, House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, all that stuff, it's that high fantasy, but it's got magic in it, it's got dragons in it, it's got romance in it, anything you kind of want in a fantasy book you have here, and it's all full cast, so it's going to be fun. And then the comic, Fairy Tales of Terror, I'm just waiting on the print copy to come in, my test copy. All of my digital rewards are already out, so everybody's already got theirs, so I'm waiting to get some feedback from everybody. Hope everybody liked it. I think it turned out pretty well. But it's got Psycho Cinderella, and I put out the STLs too, because I have little figures that come with it and stuff like that. But Killer Captain Hook, and then there's Tiger Lily chasing them all down. It's lots of fun. Anyway, definitely check that out. Go to fairytalesofterror.com and grab your copy, or at least pre-order now before I go to the print. All right, so let's jump back into the last 3 books. And number 3 is, I'm sure, a book nobody's heard of. Actually, nobody's heard of any of these. Called Never Wars. I'm actually very upset that this is over. This is the last book. This is book 8. And I thought maybe it would go on to 12, but it's over. And this is... It basically did what I'm kind of trying to do, is put all of... this has a lot more characters than what I'm doing. They kind of threw in the kitchen sink in this one. So you had the Queen of Hearts fighting her son, the Prince of Hearts, and she killed him in the last issue. You have the Tin Man, who talks like a robot. That's pretty cool. And on top of that, you had the Scarecrows. You had all of the different Oz characters. You had Peter Pan, who had lost his hand. He has a hook now, which seemed to be a given thing, because I didn't do that, but I've seen now 2 stories now where Peter has a hook. Tinkerbell was put in a box and nobody fed her, so she was like a skeleton. Anyway, it's really cool. And then we have the Jabberwock that's causing havoc, and so this is the ending. I didn't get like the first 3 issues. I kind of started it in the middle because I didn't know about them, and I might just get the compendium. But it's so the whole thing kind of ends like the original Wizard of Oz, where he goes back into World War I because he's in no man's land, and during Christmas, and this is actually true. So during Christmas, the fighting stopped, and both sides came out of the trenches, and they celebrated together. And then they went back the next day and killed each other. But that is true that the fighting stopped on Christmas. So that's how this kind of ends. Good stuff. Really good stuff. All right. And number 2, another Kickstarter book. I was really shocked about this one because anything that has to do with like a female lead, which also is Van Helsing, normally there's really no substance to it. But this is Little Red Robin Hood. So this is Robin Hood mixed with Little Red Riding Hood, okay? Which is pretty clever, actually. I never thought about that, but putting those 2 together is actually pretty smart. But it has to do with werewolves, so it's kind of like the old Amanda Seyfried movie where there's werewolves, but here there's multiple, like the sheriff. So the sheriff from Nottingham and King John, which I don't know if it was Prince John, right? Because he wasn't supposed to be king, but the king went out to fight in the wars, and his brother Prince John took over. So anyway, they're both werewolves, and then they control other wolves that have these gold rings on them. I thought that was pretty interesting too. But anyway, she killed one of them because they were, they're kind of hunting the town and, causing mischief. So she killed one of them, and then she kind of plays it off that she didn't do it. Meanwhile, she has the rings, and she had a guy melt them down, the coins, so that she could give them out to the poor, So really, I thought it was really good. I thought they did a good job with that. So see if you can pick this up before the next one comes out. So I'm definitely going to get the next one. All right, I keep looking around for the next book, but I read it digitally because I only had 2 books, so I didn't have them ship it to me because they wanted to charge me for shipping, and I didn't do that. So all the other stuff I'm getting this upcoming week. Anyway, that is the new issue of G.I. Joe by Joshua Williamson, and good stuff here as well. We finally have Hound come out. So Duke is having a hard time processing all this that he got. He's like, did you guys know? Did you guys all know? And Baroness is like, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, man. So really good stuff in here. Not a whole lot happens, but this is kind of the culmination of everything that's been on the down low. So he wants information out of Hound, and he's like, dude, I'm sorry, but Starscream ain't with us, because the whole thing is that Duke's whole platoon or whatever else, I think they were in planes, they were in pilots, they all got killed by Starscream, so he's been hunting Starscream throughout this whole run, and for an Autobot to show up, he automatically thinks he's evil. So anyway, good stuff. I'm waiting to see where this goes now that the 2 worlds are kind of melding a little bit more. Anyway, that is my pick of the week of my 7 independent books. So good stuff. Anyway, remember to give me a like, give me a subscribe if you can. If you can, ring that bell, ding ding. That would be great. Also, remember to check out my stuff on Amazon. Jump into Fairy Tales of Terror real quick before I put my order into the printer. Go to fairytalesterror.com and check out Sherlock Holmes and the Christmas Krampus. And then on top of that, jump into Tales of Ravenor right now. Just click Notify Me at launch because I am going to be launching shortly. So just click on that. It doesn't cost you anything. But talesofravenor.com, or it's linked in the description below. All right, thanks a lot, guys. And yes, it's cold. I have the heater on. You probably heard all that. Yeah, I don't know what happened, man. It was all of a sudden, the temperature just dropped. I know that 20 inches of snow just dropped in New York. So if you're watching this from New York, ooh, stay warm, man. Stay warm. All right, talk to you guys later. All right, bye.